Recording in progress.
Call to order the Wednesday, November 12th, 2025 Chaska Planning Commission meeting. Liz, will you take a roll?
Yep. Commissioner Austin.
Here.
Baswa.
Here.
Campbell.
Here.
Kerber.
Here.
Purdy. Rosted.
Here.
Saylor.
Here.
Urbanski.
Here.
And Chairperson Brass.
Here. With that, we'll move into adopting the agenda. I'll make a motion to adopt. Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. We'll go right to visitor presentation, item number 4 tonight on the agenda. This is for anyone that would like to address the Planning Commission that is not on the agenda for tonight, so for some other purpose. Going once. We're probably safe to say that there is nobody here for a visitor presentation. We will move along to approving the previous meeting minutes. Have everyone reviewed those? Make a motion.
So moved.
Second, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? That motion carries and those are approved. Which we go into our consent item. This is the final plat approval, so everything, the heavy lifting's all been done. If there was final review, is there any questions for city or staff before we make a motion to approve that?
No.
Okay. So with that, I'll make a motion to recommend approval of the final plat for Chevalle 19th edition, Quadriga Ventures PC 2025-11. Is there a second?
Second.
Austin, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? That motion carries. That will bring us right to our action item 7A. It's a public hearing. It's a recommend approval of the preliminary site and building plan and zoning ordinance amendment for the Municipal Services Building here in Chaska, PC 2025-18. Liz, would you go ahead and present?
Yep. 1 second.
Thank you. Feel bad for that guy. I had to travel just for that. How's that guy?
Verifying that you can see the presentation in front of you.
Yep.
Perfect. All right, thank you. We have a preliminary site and building plan and zoning ordinance amendment this evening for the Municipal Services Building being proposed by the City of Chaska and Ortel Architects, which is our design team. The site is located in the southwest area, just south of Creek Road, south of Chaska Creek Boulevard, where it terminates at Creek Road. To the west of Highway 212, we have rural residential to the west and a residential property to the northeast, but the remaining areas are mainly industrial in nature. So we've seen this project come through for concept a couple months ago. So at this point, we're at the second step of our 3-step process where we delve into more of the technical details of the project, both from a civil standpoint and an architectural standpoint, starting to respond to some of the items that were brought up during concept plan. So there will be another step following this. This project does plan to apply for that right away, so you will likely see the final come through at our next Planning Commission meeting. I'm not going to run through all of this on this screen, but the previous approvals do date back to 2022, but for this project in particular, it dates back to 2024, and then more recently, September of this year is when the concept plan was approved. The property in question takes over roughly 4 lots and 22 acres of area that the city owns. The main lot being looked at for the Municipal Services Building is the western lot, or Lot 1, Block 1, of the already recorded plat out there. Addressed is 4501 Creek Road. This is a 12-acre site. There are a couple outlots as well that were platted in the original plat for this site, Outlot B and Outlot C. Outlot B has 2 stormwater ponds on them, and then some buildable space just south of that that will be used for the fuel island. And then Outlot C is effectively an extension of Chaska Creek Boulevard. The current zoning out here is PID 10, and this was put in place back in 2022 with the original approvals. Just a couple existing views from Creek Road, both looking southwest and southeast from that roadway, just to give you a glimpse of how the site is set up today. What we're specifically asking for is one, a preliminary site and building plan, and this would be for the new MSB building, which would total 148,000 square feet in size and 38 feet in height. It will also contain a fuel island and a parking lot totaling 118 stalls for the site. The building will house our Public Works facility, which contains both our Streets Department, Parks Department crew, our stormwater personnel, mechanics, building maintenance people, sewer and water, and electric departments. In total, this facility would be able to hold 118 employees at its full build-out. The primary operations at this building will be vehicle storage for most of the Public Works equipment, as well as maintenance on that equipment would happen at this building. The workshops for each department will also be in this building, as well as the office administration or public-facing side of the building too. This facility and site was not planned for outdoor storage. Most of that will stay at the existing facility on Victoria Drive. This site is guided business park. The use is consistent with that, and the zoning is a planned industrial district number 10 to be exact. So the second part of the request does include an amendment to that PID district, which we'll get into a little bit later. This is the proposed preliminary site plan. The building, again, is situated on that western lot, 12 acres in size. It's primarily a rectangular building that'll be mainly large open warehouse type use with 2 stories kind of situated on that southeast portion of the building for the offices and training spaces. Access into the site will come from a direct access from Creek Road on the west side, which would primarily function as personnel entrance, so it wouldn't be a public entrance into the site. And then Chaska Creek Boulevard will extend south off of the existing roundabout at Creek Road and Chaska Creek Boulevard, and that will provide kind of the primary access into the site, which will have driveways to the fuel island situated on the southeast side of the site or in Outlot B, and then 2 driveway access points to the main parking area southeast of the building, and another ingress-egress point for personnel using the facility. The main entrance of the building will face south, so towards the wooded area, and be directly adjacent to that main parking lot. There will be enough stalls to accommodate both the existing and future growth of the site, which was one thing that we advised to work on going into preliminary. So they are showing 118 total parking stalls to meet those future demands. This is the traffic circulation exhibit, which was shown during concept, but it's helpful just in terms of how people will be accessing the site and where security gates are located, which are primarily at where the rear access of the site is situated. There will be security gates at both of those driveway points so that only authorized personnel can get into those parts of the site. This is the landscape plan, so something that has been further refined going into this preliminary step. Majority of the landscaping will be situated on that southwest side of the site, which faces or abuts the rural residential homes. And from a zoning ordinance standpoint, quantities are being met for both overstory, understory, and shrubs for the site. And then you'll notice that due to the presence of a transmission line easement that encumbers the north side of the property, we did not situate any trees within that. But otherwise, all the trees will be balanced throughout the site to provide screening and shade cover for the impervious surface areas. Another piece brought up not only during the 2022 approvals, but also as a part of this is screening of the facility from adjacent residential. This is a cross-section drawing shown from the rural residential to the southwest of the site, showing how new trees and how those will grow into a much larger screening edge there over time will help obstruct the view of the building. There were a few renderings shown as well to give a realistic view from these critical points of view, both showing kind of that initial growth or initial installation of the landscaping, and then what roughly 20 years of growth would look like. So as the landscaping grows, that buffer and screen will be more powerful. This is another view from the property northeast of the site on Creek Road, so looking southwest from that residential property. So their views will be minimal of the building, and the image shown here is initial installation of the landscaping out there. And they did include future growth of that landscaping as well. The building, again, will house a variety of operations and departments within the building, which will all have kind of their own designated space, which is shown in the colorized floor plan on the top image. The office space will be situated on that southeast side, which will also have the main entrance. So if there are people who are from the public that are needing to interact with some of the personnel of this facility, that's where they would go in. And then workshop space for each designated department to the west of that office area. The mechanics bay, which would provide maintenance on all city vehicles, to the west of that. Wash bays for all city vehicles as well, just on that west portion of the building. And then the majority of the building would primarily be that vehicle storage space that's kind of to the north. The bottom image is a rendering of that southeast side of the building, or where kind of the public would enter the building, and the employees as well, just to give you a view of what that looks like, which will be a very appealing aesthetic as you enter. From a building or from a zoning code standpoint for building materials, we meet all categories or meet the requirements for an industrial building. There will be a mix of modular brick, glass, architectural metal paneling, meeting that Class 1 requirement, and then a majority of the building would also be utilizing precast concrete panels in a variety of applications to provide interest. The top image here shows kind of the breakdown of those different materials, and then the bottom exhibit also shows a close-up on those materials as well, and how they've been applied in other projects as well. This is another view looking from the rear of the property or northeast. So these are the wash bays and those the maintenance bay area and workshop spaces adjacent to that. And then looking from Creek Road, facing southeast, this will be kind of that main view you'll see along Creek Road. So I think one of the challenges that the designers have been able to overcome is when you have such a large warehousing space, it can be a big mass of material there, but they've been able to break that up with clear story windows, and how they're utilizing the precast and the brick throughout that front north facade there. The second part of this request includes a zoning ordinance amendment to PID 10. So a few updates do have to happen with that zoning district because that was put in place when the previous project came through. So we do have to update some of the language within that zoning district to have it be more consistent with what's being proposed on the site today. So the amendment would include updating the graphic exhibits that are applicable to this site, amend the permitted use for Lot 1, Block 1, to include a municipal services building, so it's kind of clear that this zoning district is set up for that. It also includes amending the building setbacks to include the setback from residential property lines. I'm not sure why that wasn't in there before, but it should have been, so that is included with this amendment. And then lastly, amending the use for Outlot B to include the fuel island operation there. So again, it's just aligning the zoning with what's being proposed this evening. Just a few things to refine into final. One thing we brought up in the staff report is to include a trail segment on one side of Chaska Creek Boulevard, basically that southern leg that extends into the site. Our intention is to provide a public trail that'll connect into the Southwest Regional Trail to the north, but ultimately connect all the way across the ravine and into the development that'll occur to the south of that. And then just continuing to work with city staff on the stormwater plan and refining what's needed for that. So with that, we'll ask you to make two motions this evening. One, to recommend approval of the preliminary site and building plan for the new MSB building based on the conditions that are listed in the staff report. And then a second motion to recommend approval of the zoning ordinance amendment to PID 10 based on the draft ordinance that was included in your packet. If this moves forward this evening, it will go to City Council on the following Monday, November 17th. Happy to answer any questions. We also have Andrew Cooper here with Ortel, if you have any design-related questions for him.
Thank you, Liz.
Thank you.
Yeah, I'll bring it back to commission. This is a public hearing, so we will open up to the public. No one's here, but I think I saw maybe a couple people online if they have any questions. But first, before that, questions for city staff, for the architect. Anybody have any questions?
One question. Being from Maple Grove, it looks strikingly similar to the Maple Grove Public Works building. Do you use some of those concepts in this design, things like that? And I only say that because I thought Maple Grove was well done, having been there when it was built and used it from the fire side.
Sure. Well, thank you, Commissioner, as I also did Maple Grove. So yeah, there's only so many different ways to do clear story when you elevate that glass and get it off the ground. It is a good, Maple Grove is a good exploration on how to use industrial materials in a residentially friendly way and try to take those concepts and apply them to all our projects. And this one, the primary facade along the road is vehicle storage. It's a 500-foot long box, and we want to try to break that up to pull some daylight into people's everyday workspace, even though it's generally for trucks. But to do that sparingly, because we're also conscious of a project budget, and glass is more expensive than solid wall. So trying to limit those interventions that it's meaningful and using materials and the forms responsibly. So again, there's only so many different ways to do sloped roof, and and I'm kind of a black and tan material person, it's very easy to find, and it's very easy to get on projects, so you're not waiting for, 3-4 months for a custom color of something, so.
Yeah, it's well-placed in a neighborhood. And, yeah, you've probably seen it, Todd. Yes. And so if this follows the same suit, it's, yeah, I like it.
It looks
This
nice.
one's better, because it's your second one.
Right.
Yeah.
Got the kinks out.
Yeah.
Has there been any discussion if we need to expand in the future, do we have space there to do that?
This would be full build-out, so there wouldn't be any expansion anticipated with this building.
But we're still holding on to the Victoria Drive one, right?
Correct. Yep, so we do have options there, and I think, we're exploring what could potentially happen there, but there is, extra space there to help with the exterior storage, and if there's ability to retrofit there, I think we can explore that at this time. But, yeah, based on this site and how it's laying out and what we plan for, it wouldn't expand beyond what we're
What's
showing.
the 40-year, or what's the thought on how long this?
This facility is actually programmed for a 20-year build-out, which
yep.
through the department's growth projection for infrastructure maintenance, road development, and equipment purchases through that 20 years, this would meet those needs in terms of large and small vehicles. So this facility is not going to be needed to be added on to from a vehicle storage perspective. Now, if there's other work activities that get brought on to the departments, whatever they may be, there is opportunity at the existing MSB. As Liz mentioned, all the exterior storage is going to be over there, so they're both are going to be remaining in operation for the perpetuity of the department. So.
Kind of a follow-up question, but not really related to the building. Is there any chance then that we could actually see like a compost facility in the city then?
That's a good question.
Yeah, I can speak to that a little bit. I would say, presently with this building, we aren't planning any sort of composting facility. But, fortunately, just recently across the river, Shakopee-Minnewaxin Sioux community opened a facility that just does exactly that.
Yep.
So we are in active discussions with them to, partner and see if there's ways to help, Chaska residents get, access to that facility. I mean, Chaska residents already do have access to that facility. There's a fee to drop off your yard waste and, whatever items. But we're talking to them about how do we maybe rethink we've got a biannual yard waste drop-off that we do at Athletic Park right now. Maybe there's a way to work with that facility and open that opportunity beyond just 2 weekends a year, and create that partnership there.
Awesome.
So yeah.
Any more questions for city staff, architect, before I open the public hearing? All right, we can open up the public hearing at 7:24. Obviously, there's nobody here in the crowd tonight. If there's anyone online that'd like to address the commission?
If there's anyone online that wishes to speak, then just raise your hand and we can call on you. I'm not seeing anyone.
Okay. Well, I'm going to go ahead and close the public hearing at 7:24 as well. So let's got that open and closed. So now we're back again. 16 seconds later. Is there any further questions? Okay. Anyone would like to make a motion to recommend approval?
I'll make that motion to recommend approval of the city council of the preliminary site and building plan for the municipal services building, and must be subject to the following 8 conditions.
I will second that. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? That motion carries. Todd, would you do the honors on the next
I'll make
one?
a motion to recommend approval of the zoning ordinance amendment ZOA to the Planned Industrial District PID 10 based on the draft ordinance.
there a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? That motion carries. All right. Congratulations, city.
Yeah.
Good one.
Yep.
Thank you.
Thank you for coming.
Finest developer I ever worked with.
With that, we'll just do other business real quick. There's anybody have any questions for city or staff, anything to discuss? Okay, so just real quick, so next meeting, are we gonna try to nominate new chair and vice chair?
I think that'd be ideal.
That'd be the intent? Okay, so then I would just, Liz just sent out an email with everybody on it. And so let's not reply all, because we don't want to have like a quorum, but if each of you could reply or send me an email and let me know if you would like to be vice chair, so we can kind of try to figure this out ahead of time instead of trying to because at some point, vice chair will turn into chair potentially if you're here long enough and whatever. So if each of you could email me your indication if you'd like to be vice chair, and then also vote for somebody that's not yourself. And then I can kind of get an idea of like who people are thinking would be, then we can make a recommendation and see if we can vote on it next meeting. Does that make sense?
Do
You're
we-
still good to be chair?
Yeah, do we have business for next meeting?
We do.
Okay.
What
This
is-
MSB will be on there,
Mm.
and that's it.
What will be on there?
MSB, final.
Oh, just the final?
Yep.
And then a vote? Okay.
Yep.
That'd be nice and
Consent
quick.
item, I would assume.
Right.
Yep.
Probably a consent
So
item.
it'll be a quick meeting. Okay, so if you guys could do that, that'd be great, just so we could I could kind of see where people are thinking and because not everyone's willing to be vice or chair or whatever, so it'd be great to get the idea. Does that make sense?
Yep.
Okay. With that, I'll make a motion to adjourn. Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. We're adjourned.
Recording stopped.